Are we good?
Yeah.
Here we go. We are in episode 14 of Chat with Gunner. And again, the past 3 episodes have been fun. This is going to be the 3rd edition of it. If you can hear our voice, you are the resistance, because I love saying that now.
I can't hear shit.
I love it. I am here with my boy again, Chris McNelly. Highly suggested that you come back again yet this episode.
I think that's a good thing, you know?
It is, yeah.
I don't know.
You've came recommended.
I don't believe that for a second.
I swear, dude, I don't get text messages or phone calls from people that like actually matter ever.
Okay.
And I've had them the past 2 weeks with you on here.
I'll take that.
A lot of people want to know, how does he know so much about conspiracies? Maybe do some research, you sheep.
Yeah, read much? You know,
Yeah.
that's not that hard.
Ever watched a video? Ever typed something in and been like, hey, let's try that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Card catalog, motherfuckers.
Yeah, CNN and Fox News doesn't tell you everything.
Not everything. Just a little bit.
Now, last week...
By the way, I can't hear you at all.
You can't hear me at all?
Yeah. Did we even do any of this, Ethan?
Yeah.
We set any of this up? 'Cause
Yeah.
my headphones aren't in.
Oh.
No.
Or they're not. They don't work at all.
Well, I'm pretty sure everybody can hear me right now.
Everyone can hear both of you.
Hopefully.
Well, cool.
So it is, what is today's date? April 3rd?
Second.
April,
think.
yeah.
Yes,
April
April
2nd, 2020, and what a 2020 it has been.
It's been a real shit show so far.
So
you know?
we just hit we just went over 1 million on the threshold of people with the COVID-19 coronavirus.
Yep.
AKA SARS-2 is what the doctors are calling it.
SARS-2.
SARS-2.
Okay.
So don't know what that means. I know there was a SARS-1 that wasn't nice and killed a lot more people than this is killing so far, but that's where we're at.
Yeah, the numbers don't add up. They still don't add up.
No, and as we're talking, Trump just launched a multi-billion-dollar program. I guess he's trying to get it passed, but to save small business.
Well,
So,
I can see that. I mean, I know our
whatever.
company right now, because there's some things that the government is allowing that's free, and I'm going to take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
When it comes to certain aspects, and then there's obviously things that you will have to pay back depending upon what you actually are approved for and how you spend that money. And that's the thing too. Like, you're seeing a lot of people that don't know how to navigate these waters when it comes to the SBA, etc. So they're not going to actually follow through and get anything. And then there's we're working hard. We're meeting with our accountant again tomorrow because we do want to stay open.
Right.
Because again, there's only like a couple of ways this is going to go. It's either going to keep getting worse, and it's not going to matter to anybody if you're in business or not, or the dust will settle, hopefully come summer, and if you're still in business or have some kind of acumen to start a business, things can get really, really good. So
it seems like it's going to get worse for a little while.
Yeah. I even I got a family member that's special ops. I got a really good friend, special ops, and then an acquaintance whose spouse is Pentagon. And all 3 of them said this is going to be real bad, and it's going to get worse, and this probably won't settle until June, which was really unnerving and a little like, fuck.
Yeah.
June? Come on. So
yeah, so from what we're hearing, you might want to stay inside. You might want to actually do what everybody's telling you to do and kind of take this serious. It maybe at the beginning we didn't think it was going to be a big deal per se, but people are dying. People are dying that are not just old. People are dying that are young. Yeah, they have underlying issues, but a lot of people have those issues, and you can spread it, and you could have it without having symptoms, like the idiotic governor of Georgia.
I didn't know you could spread it.
Yeah, couldn't figure that out, and that's why he's kept everybody away from the stay-at-home order. I didn't know that the issue was that someone could have it and not be showing symptoms, and that they could also spread it to someone that could show those symptoms. Yeah, well, the CDC was the ones that said that, and they're out of Atlanta, so you're an idiot.
Yeah.
It's in your state, but anyways.
Well, I think something to consider, too, is there's so many things going on right now that people, if you're not paying attention, and it's not just the virus, like, people need to be hyper aware of what's going on around them. I mean, you need to be aware of your neighbors. You need to be aware of your city. You need to be aware of your business. You need to be aware of your family. I mean, think about it. I don't know how much people are really paying attention, but half of Trump's press conferences have nothing to do with this coronavirus.
No.
They have to do with cartels, narcotics and drug cartels, human sex trafficking, human trafficking in general. Look at all the naval ships that have been put up around the coast. I mean, there is some shit going on that has nothing to do with this virus. him shutting down the borders, calling all Americans to come back into the country. I mean, there's something, and I think that's what, we've been talking about in general outside of this show, Gunner, is the fact that there's some things that are unnerving when it comes to what's really going on in the world, much more than this virus.
Well, I was reading this off to you earlier. So, sign number one that this is kind of serious. President Trump activating 1 million military reservists with medical skills to treat battlefield injuries.
Yep.
Details of this order are found in the EO text at whitehouse.gov. Pretty reliable website. Sign number two, the Pentagon is ordering high-level staffers into deep underground bunkers in Colorado. This was announced by NORAD and NORTHCOM in a Facebook town hall meeting. Obviously, you don't order military staffers into a 2,000-foot deep bunker just because of a virus.
Right.
And sign number three, Secretary of State Pompeo, I guess that's his name,
Yeah.
just ordered all Americans living overseas to return to the U.S. immediately.
These are all signs of war.
Yeah, and what we was hearing last night during the little presser that Trump did, and he's doing one right now, but we'll touch on that next week. But last night he was talking about the drug cartel, the war on drugs, and that they're trying to invade the country and use this COVID-19 as a way to get in easier. But he's putting warships, like putting our top military, I guess, resources on the border and off the coast of Venezuela.
Yeah.
And this is not good because
No.
the guy from Venezuela already has a $15 million bounty on his head.
Yep.
So if anything goes down with him, and the people that I've been listening to, they say, watch that. If anything happens to that guy, that's going to be the beginning of World War III because he has Russia and China in his pocket.
Yep, and most likely Iran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's scary times.
Stuff's getting dicey out there. Like, every week, we're walking on eggshells, and I don't think people understand that. One, the economy is going to continue to tank, and I don't think people are ready for that. No matter how much stimulus we put into this, by design, it's going to tank. You're going to see this is just me reading things that I understand, at least when it comes to the geopolitical and economic world. It's going to go below 15. This is then going to
That's
affect,
the stock market he's talking about.
Yeah, this is then going to affect the housing market. This is going to continue to affect small business. This is only going to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
I do see gold and silver actually making that's going to stop being manipulated. I don't know if you've seen that.
They're running out of it.
Well, the thing is right now, because I went and got some last week, silver spot price like $14, but you can't get it for less than like $22.
Yeah.
So the premium on it's outrageous, which should tell people something. But I see gold and silver going up tremendously. I'm talking like I see silver going higher than it's ever gone in history.
You're seeing Bitcoin and cryptocurrency go up right now as well.
Yeah,
so
you're going to see a lot of shifts in the monetary world. I love what Trump did last week with the Federal Reserve. It's positioning it, for those of you who don't know, it looks like what his administration is doing is to pretty much bankrupt the Federal Reserve by merging it and marrying it with the Treasury Department, which is genius because if you look at what JFK and Abraham Lincoln, those are the only two presidents ever before that have tried to assert the Federal Reserve. They both got shot in the head. So there's that. What do you want, James? Oh, God. There's that.
Yeah, we're talking about presidents getting killed, and here comes James.
Just creeping in.
Yeah, so you have that going on. What else is going on right now?
Well, this is a text that came in via Instagram message today, which I find very, very interesting. And one thing that people need to look at, too, no matter which side of politics you find yourself on, go look up the executive orders that Trump signed for combating human trafficking. Actually, I have it right here. It was an executive order signed January 31st, but he signed the original one in 2017. But it's combating human trafficking and child exploitation. And then in a direct message on Instagram, I have to tell you this. Please don't show, and this was sent to a friend, and don't tell anybody, names, you name it. But my aunt is a nurse, and one of her closest friends, all right, so 3 degrees of separation, she is working on the Navy ship docked in New York and has confirmed they are bringing all the rescued children abroad currently that they've been saving. And then if you look, Ethan, I should have sent you this, but there's a picture. I don't know if we can link it at the end of this, but there's a picture of someone on this. I think is it Mercy or Comfort that's in New York?
I think it's Comfort.
I think it's Comfort. There's an image that I sent to you earlier today.
I saw that.
And there is a Navy nurse. You can tell by her garb and her attire. and the human leg that is shown on that hospital bed is one of someone who is obviously malnutritioned or starved. And there's also images of people being carried on the hospital beds or gurneys. I don't know what you call them. They don't have any fluids or anything like that. They have bags for the nutrition bags is what there are. So that's one thing that I think people need to really look into is Trump's gone real heavy on taking out human trafficking, and that's something that honestly should be applauded. He's mentioned it years before. I think you can find tweets from him from like 2012, long before he ever ran for office, talking about the nasty industry that is human trafficking. And then you have celebrities out there like Mel Gibson, who has been very, very,
very
outspoken about it as well. And then obviously you've got all these young celebrities that have come out of it, even from like Bella Thorne, you name it, that have been very outspoken about Hollywood in general. And then, but the cartels, going back to what you're talking about, the cartels, when it comes to narcotics in general, they're all intertwined, from human trafficking to drug trafficking. That's something that is being hit very, very hard right now behind the scenes of this COVID-19, and that's something that the media is not talking about.
Nope.
No one will ask Donald Trump about these victims or about the military ops that are taking place when it comes to this, and people need to pay attention to that, because that is a $150 billion a year industry that's being hit directly in the fucking teeth. Not only is it being hit in the teeth, you're looking at people that are going to go to prison for this.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at money laundering that is tied directly to this. You're looking at individuals in politics, Hollywood, corporations, and nonprofits that are all going to be directly affected by this. And that's something that the world does not want to get out, or at least people that are highly involved. So, again, people need to be paying attention to what's really going on out there, because, granted, I think that COVID-19 is going to get a little bit more serious. From what I've been told, it's weaponized, and it's going to go airborne. And that's something that I think we're going to see in flyover states all the way to what did you show us earlier today, like an hour ago? What are they doing in the state of Tennessee with the convention centers and stadiums?
Yeah, so the convention centers and the stadiums, or the big arenas, are going to be used as a like a overhaul of the COVID-19 patients. Just
That's
like
crazy.
Yeah, so you're looking at in New York, they got the Mercy or
Yep.
whichever Navy ship it is. In LA, they're doing the same thing. And all the other cities, they're going to use convention centers and arenas.
Well, that's
to
the
store people.
difference. Actually, it's been verified, and Trump's made it very clear that the naval ships Mercy and Comfort are not being used for overflow of COVID-19.
They're actually for the people that wouldn't be going in there.
Exactly,
For COVID.
but
Gotcha.
but apparently what they're actually being used for are these victims of trafficking that are being put on there safely.
That's the rumor, huh?
Yes, that's the rumor, and that's something too that people need to look into when it comes to executive powers. One thing that people need to go and study up on is, what does it allow the executive branch to actually pretty much commandeer and have authority over? And that involves the National Guard, the reserves, the Marines. So people really need to be paying attention to what that gives the executive branch power over and how they can utilize it, because it's almost like there is a silent war going on through the measures that happen through national emergencies being declared, and the powers that the president have that people don't actually have to necessarily know about.
And to go back to the cartel a little bit, so here's a news article from the day. 30 million worth haul of drugs unearthed in narco tunnel under U.S.-Mexico border. So
I believe
there's
it.
one. I mean,
Yeah.
there's like 4 of those articles separate right now between
But
Texas
going
and
hand in
California.
hand with that, what about the articles when it comes to the military training
Underground.
training its teams underground? What the fuck's that about? Now, if you haven't known, there are massive tunnel systems in the United States that literally go from coast to coast.
Yep.
Truckers use them, you name it, but this is also something, and I'm not talking like tunnels that you dig. I'm talking these are professional grade military tunnels. But look into DUMBs, deep underground military bunkers. How many earthquakes have we had in the last month in the United States? All over, like 30 something?
Dude, we've
There
had
was just
more.
one in Idaho.
Yeah,
like, a couple days
6.5
ago.
in Idaho.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's more earthquakes this month or last month than there ever has been in the month
Yeah.
of March.
And they're all at a certain depth.
Yeah, 6.2 miles.
Right, which
Why is
tells you
that?
something. That's not; those are not on fault lines. That means that there's some kind of, whether it's the tunnel systems or it's these deep military or underground military bunkers
Yeah,
that are
little
probably
explosions.
that apparently what's been really going on, quote unquote, theory is that these rescue victims, not only are they taking them out and bringing them back into the real world but they're then just killing and blowing everything up underground so that they can't be used again.
So let's say, hypothetically, that you have 6.2 miles underground of room to work with stacked on top of each other vertically to
Gotcha.
build underground cities.
Yep.
You could probably build, 8 cities? I mean, that's 6.2 miles deep.
Yeah, you're
That's
talking
not wide.
You're talking up and down, baby.
Yeah, up and down. That's not what your square footage. That's not wide.
And a mile, here's the thing, a mile is 5,280 feet. Am I not mistaken?
Yeah.
So that means that if it's 6.2 miles below, good God,
Dude,
that's a lot of.
That's reaching like Mariana Trench,
Yeah.
like deep
Yeah.
levels, just on land.
We're less than 100 miles from space,
Yeah.
In theory.
Well,
in theory.
Is it real? Dun dun dun.
NASA.
NASA, fake as fuck. So yeah, there's a lot going on when it comes to that as well. Gosh, we could just go all day. I think the biggest thing is that people, not just the COVID-19. I mean, look at the dude who tried to drive a goddamn locomotive into Mercy out in San Diego.
Trying to prove a point that there's kids on board.
Yeah. So the world, and here, a great quote from Gerald Celente from the Trends Journal News. He says that when people lose everything, they lose it. And that's one thing, Gunner, you were talking about. I want you to go a little bit more into detail about, what do you think this is going to look like in 2 weeks, 1 month, et cetera, and how is that going to affect people?
Yeah, man, so this is crazy. If you people, I posted this on Facebook and not many people clicked on it because here's the problem. When you post things that are a little bit weird and a little bit outside of the box, people don't want to like it because they don't want to be associated with it. Well, let me tell you something. There's a thing called Event 201, and this is not a conspiracy. This is an actual real-life simulation that happened in October 18th or 19th, 2019. So that's just a few months ago. But it was about 3 weeks prior to any case of the coronavirus being around, right? So hang with me. So it's Event 201. It was funded by Bill Gates and his foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which is the vaccine foundation right now. All right? So this thing takes place, and in this simulation, they showed a 19-minute short film. And in this film, they played out a plandemic. And in this plandemic, it was based around what? It was based around the coronavirus, a pandemic that would take place. And if any of these things was to happen, this is the phases and orders that it would happen in. And as of right now, we are following that order. We are following those phases. And if you look at the phase we're in right now in this moment, it is starting to quarantine. It is starting to lock down. It is starting to lock down travel. It is suppressing your rights and keeping you home. And the next phase, it might not be days or weeks, but the next phase is what they're planning for is the riot, is when you're quarantined or you're locked down or you're shut down so long that you just go stir crazy. And there's people in this country that are going to go stir crazy.
Yep.
They're going to lose their minds and they're going to riot. And you're going to see these riots where? In the big, more populated cities, New York, L.A., Dallas, these top cities. Well, guess where we're storing military vehicles? In those cities. So they're expecting the riots to happen, and Twitter has an algorithm planned based off of the comments that they're receiving in the areas that they're receiving of where they think a riot might take place, and they predict riots already. So that's why they have these military vehicles stored in these areas. It's not for the why do you need a tank for a coronavirus? You don't.
Yeah, you're not going to shoot dead people that can't get out of a bed.
Yeah, you don't need 100 tanks in L.A. for a coronavirus. There's a reason that we're positioning these military vehicles that could already roll themselves somewhere in specific areas, if that makes sense. So if that was to take place, if there is a riot in these major cities, look for martial law then to happen in those specific cities where the government comes in or the military comes in and says, hey, we're now in control of this area.
And that's a scary thought.
It's a very scary thought.
Because now you're dealing with military who are following orders, but you're dealing with, because I genuinely believe this, most people are fucking stupid, and most people are uninformed. So you're dealing with people who are not only scared, but now they have their own ideas and conclusions of what is and isn't going on.
Right.
So what happens when you've got Joe Blow and Susie Q who are on the right and the left, and they both have their own ideas, but they're both fucking wrong, and now they're dealing with the military who is told what to do? That's reason for fucking chaos. And stupid people do stupid things.
They do. And That's why you need to do your own research, be open-minded, and come up with your own conclusions and have your own analysis, kind of like we do. Yeah, maybe we're wrong, but you know what? If we're right, we're going to be more prepared than the other people are. Maybe it's just random head knowledge that we're going to have, and we're just going to store it away, and we'll never use it again. But maybe we do use it again. And guess what? People like us become leaders. People like us, we take over the village.
Yeah.
It's going to be our town.
Or
we're going to be the
like
people.
literally, we just kill the people that need to be killed. There's
Yeah.
bad people out there, dude.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like I don't know if you've seen the movie Defiance. It's on Netflix. Fantastic. If you've never seen it, watch it. You'll love it. Watch it tonight if you can. Defiance. It's about the Jews that hid into the woods, and they created like this mass community of like over 2,000 people. And they lived in the woods of like Belgium for like 4 years. The Tuski brothers is what they were called.
Okay.
The Tuski, something like that. It's been a minute. Long story short, there's a guy in the film, and it just shows you what people are capable of. There's a dude in the film in the village that ends up, one of the brothers ends up going off with the German brigade to kill the Nazis, and then one of the brothers is too young, so he's not much of a leader, and then the real brother, James Bond, the real leader, he gets really sick, and so he's bedridden. And one of the dudes in the village ends up taking over, and it becomes pretty much a dictatorship. So they eat all the food, no one gets what they need. It's just, it falls apart.
Right.
Long story short, James Bond, Daniel Craig, finally gets up, finds out that they beat the shit out of his little brother who was trying to do the right thing. Nobody's eating, nothing is fair, and the dude's pretty much just started a coup.
Yeah.
The guy starts talking. Long story short, Daniel Craig pulls out his gun, shoots the dude in the fucking head, case closed, everyone get back to work, everyone does the same thing, everyone eats accordingly, and there's a regimen, and he goes back and he fucking burns it out with a fever, and then, they live. So it's little things like that to where you're going to have shitty people making shitty choices, and in the words of the military, you always fall back on your level of training. And so how many people have trained for anything? Nothing. And you always fall back on most people are going to revert into that fight or flight. And it's not like we have all the answers, but I know one thing's for sure. I know how to shoot all my guns. I know where all of them are. I know how to where I live. There's one way in and there's going to be one way out. And those people can make their choices. But guess what? That's what fires are for, and dragging people out, and you'll smell it. As fucked up as that sounds. So yeah, at the end of the day, if you have, a plan in your schools like your kids do for a fire or a tornado, you need to do the same thing in your house.
You gotta have it.
Everyone's got to have a plan. Where do you go when you hear the alarm sound, whether it's your mom or your dad's voice or vice versa, whatever the case may be? Which room do you get to? Do you know where weapons are? Do you know an escape plan? And those are things that people don't want to talk about because they're scary.
Yeah.
But they're not as scary if you prep for them.
Yeah. It's not going to happen. It's going to go back to the way it was in 2 weeks. It's just the flu virus.
I've literally talked to some very, very intelligent people, whether they're military, finance, the list goes on, and every single one of us have agreed the world is never going to be the same after this.
No, it can't.
It's not going back to normal.
Even if it does go back to normal, what is normal? Just, hey, go back outside if you want to. I don't even know if I really want to. I don't want to just have the freedoms that I had. I don't want to be around a bunch of nasty people that probably have 4 different types of coronavirus.
That's the thing. It's not even just the virus. What's going to happen when our system is literally breaking down before our eyes? Our financial, monetary system, our healthcare system, our culture in general. It hasn't even gotten to a place to where it's bad. We're still doing a podcast right now.
Yeah.
It's still okay. It's a little unnerving right now, but what happens when we're not here anymore?
You can go get food. You can go to the grocery. You can go get medicine.
Yep.
You can get in your car for right now if you're not in Florida and drive out of the state.
Yep.
But you're in Florida, you better have some paperwork.
For the first time, and I've been very I don't give people advice for the most part when it comes to you need to or you should, and this isn't financial advice, but if you've got credit and you've got whether it's a credit line, or you've got a ability to get a loan or credit cards, you need to go spend that money right now. And you need to go spend it on food, and you need to go spend it on a gun, you need to go spend it on taking the proper measures for you and the ones you care about. Because for the first time, I actually think we're in this for the long haul, and I hope I'm fucking wrong. I really do, because shit, we were talking about it again today. April was going to be the biggest month our company ever had.
Yeah.
I'm talking we were going to do 30 or 40 grand out of this place, which was going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
Which is great. Great month. And now it's the world is gonna be stopped until fucking June
Yeah.
at the least. And that's scary because what does happen if there is a false flag or there is a terrorist attack, quote on whatever the fuck we want to call them these days, or
Right.
we are in war? Like, what does that look like when supply chains do dry up in areas of the country, or the grid goes down, or the internet? Like,
Yeah. Well, a point I brought up with some of my friends earlier today was, we've been in war often. That's usually when we're trying to get ourselves out of depression or whatever, or there's unemployment that's skyrocketing. We're going to war because there's people that are not busy, and we need to send them to war to make them busy.
Right.
Well, what happens if that war is fought here?
Yep.
We don't think about that. We think about going to Afghanistan, going to Iraq, going into Germany.
China, Russia, Iran, and Brazil, the BRIC nations, which are getting broken up. But if you don't know what they are, look them up. I think there's the SWIFT nations now as well. But they could easily invade America.
Yeah.
And I think that's one reason why Trump has talked about borders. He's
Right.
not stupid. In the world that we live in now, with the technologies that are out there, these countries are not third rate. They're fucking first class when it comes to their ability to cause problems.
Yeah.
And that's something too. This country, from a mass society standpoint, America, it would be one of the easiest places outside of the fact that our military is incredible to just fucking crush. People are fat, we're weak, we're lazy, we're losers. Fight or flight, you're going to see everyone huddled in their fucking rooms, crying, jacking off, eating a box of fucking honey buns while people are making choices, like in Saving Private Ryan. All that dude had to do was give that motherfucker the ammo, and he sat in the stairs and cried like a little bitch.
Yep.
And that's 98% of the people in this country.
99.5.
Yeah, no one is ready. What happens when someone hears a gunshot? Ka.
Yeah.
Run. They run.
Right.
But if you're trained, guess what you do? You reach for your fucking weapon, and you assess.
Yep.
How many old men out there that probably were in the military, Vietnam vets, Korean vets, Gulf vets, that if you watch videos on YouTube or Facebook, they're the ones that shoot the dude trying to rob the casino or the gas station. Why?
Or the church.
Right, because they were trained. And people always fall back to their lowest level of training. And if you've never shot a gun, you sure as fuck not going to pick one up when you're in chaos.
Right.
So, no, I just don't. That's the thing. I don't trust people, and parents with hungry kids will do crazy shit.
Yeah, my training, I'd probably try to tackle somebody. But hey, it would probably get the job done for most of these people.
Well, if you've ever shot a gun and know how to use one, you're already ahead of the game.
Well, what I like to say is I was born with a gun in my name, and I know how to use it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I like that.
You like that?
Yeah.
That's kind of James Bondish, huh?
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Watch, you're gonna get shot in the knee.
I'll be the first one to get shot.
Ah, shit, Gunner died.
He's the first one
He's down. He's down.
He had a gun in his name, but no, he had a bulletproof vest.
Yeah, someone's just gonna poison me and take over all the work that I've done all these years. I'll die in vain for sure.
People need to take this serious, and they need to start being open-minded and think outside the box. Like, the next step after this, if we was to go to martial law in some cities, is you're looking at a phase 4, and the phase 4 would be like getting rid of the misinformation that is circling the globe and circling the interweb.
Yep.
And how do you get rid of that? You shut it down.
Shut it down.
If they was to shut the grid down, people would lose their mind.
If they just shut off the internet, that's when people are going to freak out, because now what? Where's the information?
Yeah.
What do I do?
Right.
That's the thing, too. How many people are reliant on the information that they're told every day just so they can function?
Yeah.
Oh, well, the COVID-19 virus, I better stay inside. What happens when there is no information? What are you going to do then, Gene, you dumb bitch?
Yep.
You're going to fucking freak out.
Yeah, there's no information. You just happen to walk outside your door and there's a tank coming down your road.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Or think about it. Look at the videos of people in different cities, especially major cities. Look what happens when you get 15 fucking 15-year-olds in a group and they beat the shit out of somebody. You don't think that can't happen here?
Yeah.
You don't think that 15 fucking dudes with guns and trucks can't make choices to go and take what they want? Hell yeah, they can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stupid people in large groups can do some crazy shit.
And it's some crazy times
Yep.
out there.
Very crazy times. I don't trust it. And that's one reason why you've seen me even today. I'm loading my truck up, baby.
Yeah, you ought to see it out there. It's hilarious.
I'm getting ready. I don't care. I'm going to be able to, if I got to truck it another 75 miles with extra gas, I got guns. I mean, I hope I don't have to do any of that. But if I have to, get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah, I was talking today, and they were like, so Gunner, with this information that you have, let's just say you do have this information. What are you doing? What are you doing to prep? And it's like, well, I'm not doing anything too crazy. I do have food, and I feel like we can make it for a few weeks. But on your hand, like you're taking prep to the next level, which is smart. In
I
this
always
case.
have. I always have.
You've always been that guy. So
Well, and that's the thing too. I've had, and people can label me a conspiracy theorist, but a lot of the things that I've researched, you can now go look up yourself. A lot of these things have been declassified, or the fact that there has to be questions about certain things should let people know that not everything you were told was completely truthful.
right.
They just came out today that they have proven, and this is documented. I'll have to look up which part of the government. Building 7 did not collapse from a fire. Well, shit. What does it mean then? Let's go back and revisit 9/11.
Yeah.
So it's little things like that. Personally, that's a big thing. But it's things like that that people need to understand. There's so much information out there, and when you see through the veil, it makes you do different things. Every time I go to the store, an extra case of water and some extra food. $10 goes a long ways over 4 years.
Yeah.
Like, for
You're
real.
right. Yeah.
And that's why I'm not worried about food, water, or ammo at all. I mean, I literally have bought 2 guns in the last 2 weeks, and I'm going again tomorrow. You can't have enough, and guess what? You should be teaching. You should be if you got kids, those kids need to know gun safety, and they need to know how to shoot a pistol,
Right.
or a rifle. You know, go get a $230 fucking 10/22 Ruger. Teach them how to shoot that. You can take somebody out
A
with that.
22 will kill somebody.
Oh yeah,
in the
100%.
right spot.
And you can kill a hawk or a deer or something
Yeah.
small. You know,
I'm
raccoon.
not trying to get shot with a 22. I can promise you
No.
that.
No.
Nobody's trying to get shot with a 22.
You know, it's not the greatest thing when it comes to combat, but you can take something out.
I don't want to get shot by a pellet gun or a BB gun. I don't want to get shot by a I've broke Nerf guns because I've been
yeah.
shot with a Nerf gun.
Yep. Hey, and those airsoft guns hurt these days.
Yeah.
Ones with the cartridges in them. Shit,
Oh, yeah.
I've bled from that. Bunch of shit.
Oh man.
Yeah, the world's weird. People need to get prepped. People need to start taking themselves seriously. If you're fat and can't breathe, you should just accept that if stuff gets harsh, that you're not gonna make it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. People just need to accept it and just sit in your chair and just wait
And here's another thing. So I preach fasting. That's my go-to.
every day.
If you can't fast, if you're like, when's my next meal? If you can't fast, you're not going to make it. I don't care. Like fasting, if the world was to go crazy, and it looks like it's going in that direction,
Yeah.
and food is short, and you're trying to keep your resources limited, fasting is your number one tool.
Yep.
Because if you can go 3 days, which you're a human, we were created to go several days without eating and then have a big meal. So if you can go a few days without eating, you have the advantage. And guess what, boys? I can do that.
Yep.
I haven't had food all day. I haven't had food since yesterday.
You know how sharp the Native Americans were?
I'm sharp right now.
Yeah.
I can.
You putting your ear to the
Yeah,
ground,
ear
bro?
to the ground, bro.
God damn.
See,
Okay, I respect that.
Buffalo are here.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, I intermittent fast every day. I usually don't eat until about 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
It's
That, and I've cut out alcohol. I've lost 22 pounds, and I've never been sharper.
how amazing does it feel to go to 2 or 3 o'clock until you eat?
I mean, I'm so used to it now, I don't even think about it. I don't
So-
even bat an eye. There are days, though. There are days where I will get some good fat in me
Mm-hmm.
in the mornings, and some decent, sometimes, like some egg
Yeah.
and avocado.
Right.
Something real light. If I know that I've got certain things to do, I'll bust that out. But usually, intermittent fast.
So I love even when I'm not what I consider like prolonged fasting or 1 meal a day fasting, I always intermittent fasting. Like I always skip breakfast.
Yeah.
Maybe occasionally on the weekends I might, get some food with tea or something, like go to First Watch and have a
Yep.
breakfast, but then I don't eat dinner. Like I'll eat breakfast and lunch and then not eat dinner. So I'm always restricting my eating window. But if you can make it 2-3 days, you are on a different level.
Oh, yeah.
I don't suggest going much longer than 3 days, especially if you're trying to keep your muscle, which I am. But if you can, the longer you can go fasting, the better. I mean, it's been around since the ancient times, since the spiritual
Right.
times. Like it's back in the day, that was their medicine. If you're sick, you don't eat because if
It
you
resets
eat,
your
you
immune
feed.
system.
You if
Yeah.
you eat, you feed the sickness.
Yep.
I mean, organisms die when they're fed with something. The more energy they have, so like you have plenty of energy in you, use that energy, and it literally makes you clear-minded. You think clear, and it's just I can't explain it. People don't want to go. I can't go 4 hours without eating food.
Yeah.
I got to eat 6 meals a day. No, you don't, fatty. You don't
Yeah.
have to. You don't have to eat anything. Yeah, you don't have to eat anything. Don't eat any more food. And guess what? You're going to feel amazing. And then you're going to thank me. But you're not going to thank me because probably won't be one of the first
Yeah,
ones that
you're
gets
gonna,
killed
yeah,
in the
you're gonna
apocalypse.
fucking run and be out of breath, and bee's gonna blow out. And the next thing you know, you're gonna pull that Twinkie out.
I get jacked up about fasting.
I have been cheating when it comes to food at night, and I blame the restaurant for this because our bread guy brought these perfectly sized, portioned chocolate chip brownies.
Yeah.
And from Intamin's.
Yeah.
If you've never had one, try to find them. They're the most delicious fucking cakes I've ever eaten in my life. I've been talking about these to everybody. So before the world goes to shit, go find Intamin Minis chocolate chip cookie dough brownies.
Quick plug.
And they will rock your world. So if you need one last bite of something before things get bad, put one of those in your mouth, and you'll thank me. All right?
Well, here's another thing. Hey, I want to lose weight. Hey, I want to maintain my weight. Hey, I want to keep, a certain deal going. Guess what? When you're fasting, you're burning fat. When you think you're hungry, that means you're burning fat. So every time you feel hungry, you're burning fat. So
Call you back. Call you back.
The
in a
easiest
podcast.
way. The easiest way to do that is, say you do eat something bad. Say you do have a brownie and you feel a little bit bad about it. Just fast for another 2 hours. Instead of going 16 hours, go 18 hours. Instead of just don't eat tomorrow and eat the next day. You can eat whatever you want to if you fast.
I've still, like, it's moments like that. I've eaten it. I haven't cared because everything else I did in that day.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm not worried about it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love
so
it.
fast, you losers.
Yeah, fast, prep.
What is it? Who is it? Cinderella Man, Russell Crowe in that movie where he's boxing and it's the Great Depression. And you see him chug water, and he gives his kids the extra bologna.
Yeah.
What a bad motherfucker right there. That's the kind of mindset people got to get into.
Yeah. You hungry? Drink some water.
Yep.
You hungry? Go work out.
Yep. You bored? Drink fucking water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go to bed.
How much fat you got on it? Let's say I'm 230 pounds right now. Let's just say I'm 15% body fat. I got 35 pounds of fat on me that I can give away.
That's crazy to think about.
It's all month, bro. I don't have to eat all month. Give me some water. Give me some vitamins.
Yep.
Go all month.
All month.
All month.
All day. Cock strong.
Hey, so last week on the show,
Sorry.
you started talking about a demon.
Yeah, that's how I got into conspiracies, man. Was that one moment?
So I've had multiple people reach out to me, and they want to know about this demon story.
Okay.
Can you give us a little bit more?
I'll go into details. I'll go into details. This moment changed my life. That and the Mandela effect, obviously, changed all of ours.
We'll do a Mandela effect next week.
Yeah. So, again, this is literally 10 years ago. It is February of 2010. And I think it was February 6th, actually, if I'm not mistaken. I know where I'm living. I'm in the North Shore, Beck Avenue. I know all my roommates. It was a great fucking house. Great time of life. Young, had no clue what the fuck was going on, just busting ass. And long story short, to get to the actual event, I get a call from my landlord at 3:30 in the morning, and he's living in Canada at the time, which made no sense. He was getting his master's or his doctorate. So for him to call me was already a red flag. Like, okay, I mean, if anybody called you at that time, you would pick up because you would think something was wrong.
Yeah.
So I picked up, and again, this guy's personality, he's one of the best guys I've ever known. He's the kind of guy that looks at the skies falling, and he would make a great moment out of it, you know? So, Chris, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. Like, Paul, why the fuck you call me? Shit, I wasn't supposed to say his name. Why are you calling me? And, hey, all right, so long story short, so-and-so and so-and-so's boyfriend is at their apartment right now, and apparently he's possessed by a demon. And we made some phone calls and some friends in Knoxville. Long story short, they said to give you a call. And I'm sitting there like,
Perfect.
What the fuck? So I said, you know what, screw it. I'll go. It was literally about a mile away, downtown. And I go up to these really, really nice apartments, knock on the door, and get one of the greatest greetings from a very, very incredible human at the time. She was great. But I was greeted like I was coming to dinner. And it was like 3:30 in the morning. Hey, so yeah, here's what's going on. I was just like, you guys are real calm about it. But as I look back at this story, I realized like it almost felt like third person sometimes when I look back at it, because I noticed immediately. I almost felt like, you know how Robert Downey Jr. and Sherlock Holmes like just sees things as they unfold. And I just remember looking. The dad of the girlfriend was sitting there, and he had a Bible in his hand. And you know how parents yell at the referees in your sporting events?
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. It was like this dad yelling at something he had no control over, at somebody that he didn't like in that moment.
So let me try to paint the picture. So you've walked in, or they've opened the door. The girl's talking to you.
I've been brought in by the oldest sister.
You've taken a step inside now?
Inside. Great fucking apartment. Very, very pretty. I definitely was like, man, these people are rich.
So you look around, you see the dad over there holding a Bible.
I see a dad.
Is he looking at the son?
I see the dad. Then there's a couch. So I can't see what's behind that couch in front of me. But it's obviously like it's like the den area.
Gotcha.
And there's a boy on the floor, and this girl is crying.
Laying on the floor?
Laying on the floor. Now, as I walk in, and then there's a third or another person, and it was this individual's roommate. Funny story, because I ended up getting coffee with the sister who owned the apartment, and when all this was going on, her roommate is an atheist. And so when they said someone's coming to help, she literally thought a priest was coming. So when I showed up, she was immediately discouraged,
Right.
Which I found very interesting and funny. But the boy's on the ground, and he's speaking different languages. First thing I saw, and he's squirming, and his eyes were all white. So the pupils were in the back of his head, apparently. So I literally am assessing this. I have never been in this situation before in my fucking life. So I literally was like, hey, I'm going to step outside for a minute.
Yeah.
And I literally thought, fuck this, I'm going to leave.
Right.
This is crazy.
I would have left.
And at this time, I was very, very much a Christian, very, very much, at least in my own faith, I guess you could say. I had studied a lot of things. So I wasn't necessarily scared. But to say I knew what to do, fuck no. But what was very weird is I look back at this moment, and there's certain things, and you probably know this. It's like whether it's your job or it's being on this show, being able to call back things for me is very, very easy. I almost have a photographic memory.
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost like that was triggered in me because all of a sudden I remembered things that I had read or heard or seen, and it was almost like I could just pull them out. And it was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well, I remember hearing this or watching this or seeing this. But it was almost like it was in my soul or my brain, because I can't necessarily say that it was God. I don't know. I won't go that far because I've still never been able to say that.
Right.
But I do remember in that moment, I knew everyone in that room needs to leave. And that's all I knew. And so I was like, fuck, I guess I'm really doing this. So I go back in, and I tell, God, I about said her name, every single one of y'all need to leave. She was like, what? And I was like, y'all need to leave the room. All y'all need to go.
So they went outside.
They went upstairs.
Okay.
So everyone went upstairs. And then the first thing I remember was from John. I don't remember where in John. But John, I don't know if it was John or Jesus. I don't remember. But they asked, who are you? And all of a sudden, all these demons in the Bible started talking. Who are you? So that was the first thing I did.
So you tell these people to go upstairs.
Go upstairs and I'm sitting there.
And you go around and sit on the couch? And so you're looking at this
Kid
possessed
squirming,
kid on
moving,
the floor.
speaking different languages.
How far is he from you?
2 feet.
Okay.
And I literally say, who are you? Nothing. Who are you? And this is where stuff gets weird because this has never left me. And then I said, in the name of Jesus, I command you to tell me, who are you? And then everything stopped. And then the kid's head turned and looked at me, and this fucking Joker grin comes on his face and out of him. And it wasn't here. It was here. It was in like a diaphragm.
Yeah.
Was this laugh, and it was, we are many. And then he went right back into convulsing and speaking in different languages. So this is where shit gets weird because I did not know what to do.
Yeah.
But then I just kept talking because I didn't know what to do. So I kept talking. And eventually they started talking back. We're everywhere. You have no control here. They started quoting scripture. I was like, what the fuck's going on?
They did?
Yeah. Whoever they were. Whatever
Right.
they were. The
Yeah.
voices were weird.
Was each voice different?
Yeah. Yep. Each voice was different.
Okay.
And finally, I remember, again, callback, pulling from, and this is where stuff got fucked up, and very movie-esque, was I remember hearing, bind their tongue. Don't let them talk. There's power. There's life and death in the power of the tongue. I mean, even in physiology, it's proven, like, your words can have power over your actual body.
Yeah.
And so that's when I told them they're no longer allowed to talk. And that's when they freaked out, whatever this was. And the kid's jaw, I'm shit you not. I can't make this up. I have nothing to gain by telling y'all this fucking story. I need everyone to know that.
Yeah.
There's nothing in this for me to gain. The kid's jaw went over his fucking nose. And then inside, once again, right here, screams. Not scream, screams.
Yeah.
And that's when I got a little worried. Like, what the fuck just happened?
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
And so then I started remembering things, hearing things that are, that I had watched once upon a time, or I'd seen, or I'd read. And so I just started to I started to command that they had to leave. They had to leave this poor kid. And then I found out his name. Because I asked, what's your name? And what's weird is he started coming in and out of whatever this was.
The kid?
The kid. And this guy was my age, by the way. But I was a kid back then, so I call him kid. But every time he came to almost, he was kind of like stuck in this limbo to where he wasn't allowed, whatever the fuck was going on. He kept screaming, help me, please fucking help me, someone fucking help me. And then right back into it. So I kept praying, and I kept asking questions, and I kept telling, and eventually I realized that I started to learn there was a little bit of control on my end. Because whatever I was doing was working in some form or fashion. So eventually, because this guy was getting a little more aggressive, I told him he's not allowed to touch me. And so if I moved close, he would move his body away. And that's when I realized, what the fuck is all this? Not allowed to touch me? Like, you name it. And then I bound him to the floor. Y'all are not allowed to leave the floor because you got fucking squirming everywhere. And then I was like, okay, if I can do that, if that's what happened to his fucking mouth and they're not allowed to talk. Like, literally, when the kid came through, it's when I allowed them, all right, you're allowed to speak. What's really going on? Who are you guys? And then they would just quote scripture back to me. And then I realized whatever these things are, they know more than me. So then I bound him to the floor. Kid kept coming in and out. And I just sat there for probably 20 minutes. I had no fucking clue what to do. And this is when stuff got weird. And this is when stuff started to just go away. I remember turning around because the kid was bound to the floor, and he wouldn't move anywhere. He wasn't allowed to, like, go anywhere. He wasn't allowed to touch me. But I turned around at one moment, and it was almost like these demons or entities were looking at me for permission because his knife, he had, like, this, those people that wear, like, dragon shirts?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had, like, a dragon knife type thing. It was like a switchblade type thing, but it was, like, cool, I guess you could say. It was stupid. But he had it up against his neck. And it was almost like they were asking permission, pretty much, like, we're going to slit this fucking kid's throat. Like, this kid's going to kill himself before anything happens. And in that moment, I told him to drop it. And they did. And then I think it was exhaustion. I was overwhelmed. I was in over my head. I had no fucking clue what to do. And I just started crying in that moment. But then I realized, I told them, in the name of Jesus, I command y'all to leave. And I did it several times. And then eventually they did, but it was this massive breath, like a tangible fucking wind came out of this kid, and then he just sat there dead. And that's where I didn't know what to do. I kind of broke down. Kid, whatever was in him, left him. Kid's dead, on the floor. Snot and blood are coming out of his nose. It was just gross. And then something came over me, because I've seen entities before in my own life. I've seen things. But I'll never forget this. My hand was on the ground. I was next to him. My hand was picked up and put right here on him. And I said, in the name of Jesus, wake up. Kid woke up, looked at me and said, who the fuck are you? Where the fuck am I? And then he started holding his chest. Still snot, mucus. He backed up. You know how someone shimmies back?
Like when they don't know who you are?
Yeah, he was scared. He was scared out of his mind. And I just sat there. And he started grabbing his chest, and he was like, what the fuck happened to me? What did you do to me? And I was just like, bro, what the fuck?
So you're going to sit down for this?
Yeah. And I literally yelled for what's-her-face. And then I literally was just like, hey, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Like, I don't know what just happened. I'm leaving. And I left, and I went to work, and then obviously I got several phone calls that day. Went to coffee with the oldest sister. And surprisingly, what was weird, she said, so we were upstairs praying with my roommate, who's an atheist, and the roommate said, I see a knife and a lot of blood. And I was like, what the fuck? Because he almost tried to kill himself.
Yeah.
So that stuck with me. And then I met with the guy, and about 2 weeks later, after this, to really see what the fuck was going on. And we met at a Chili's parking lot, of all places.
Yeah.
And he was the one that told me about the dark magic, Aleister Crowley, witchcraft, and all the things that he'd been doing. So he had been astral projecting. He told me a story about how he was, with this girl that was like he was, when someone's like 19 and their girlfriend's like 16 because they dated through high school kind of thing.
Right.
It was like that. It wasn't anything perverted, but the dad hated him. And so he said that there was this one time that he was about to get caught being at this girl's house, and how he went into the closet and did what he normally does to go places, and he saw where he wanted to go, and he said he astral projected there. And the dad opened the door, and he physically wasn't there, but he could see the dad. The dad couldn't see him. He had fire come out of his hands in the car, and I asked him, about why he continues to do it. He said there's just too much power. He's like, I can do so much. I've got money, all kinds of shit. But that sent me down a rabbit trail when he started talking about Aleister Crowley and witchcraft and all this, and the fact that he wouldn't give it up. And I asked him, when did you start getting possessed? He said, I was in my room one night, and he said, I was getting really good at a bunch of this shit. And this goes hand in hand with some stuff that like Rogan and Eddie Bravo and all those guys have talked about, David Wilcox. He said, I was in my room and I was asleep. I'd fallen asleep with the lights on. He said, I woke up and I had paralysis. I couldn't move. And he said a 3-foot-tall gray being with these huge black eyes just walked straight into my body. And he said that's when I started having these episodes. And he would have them infrequently, and then they became more and more frequent. And then apparently this guy was on a date with his girlfriend when it happened. And he just went fucking berserk. And I asked him, are you going to stop? He said, no. And that's the last time I ever fucking talked to him. But that night changed my life. I didn't tell a whole lot of people about that. It was like literally, what do you tell people?
Yeah.
Sounds like a movie. I mean, most people are going to be like, it's bullshit.
Yeah, it's The Exorcist.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
That shit was real. That shit was fucked up. Shit was dark. But if that is that world and that was real, it fascinated me. What else is out there? What else is really going on? And that's where that rabbit trail went. And then I started learning so much more about the world. And I've been doing it ever since. And that's where even now, like I've got my own ideas, not necessarily my own, but if you keep looking, you'll find truth, and the truth it'll fuck with you. That red pill sucks sometimes because there's no going back. But it is freeing, honestly. It's very freeing because you find out that you were created. You find out that you're not just some stupid speck of dust in some oscillating solar system of trillions of, we're not that small. We're actually pretty important, at least in the eyes of the creators. So I think that's a little reassuring for anybody out there that's listening. So yeah, that's my Exorcist story. What followed that too was a lot of healings, by the way. Stuff that because I used to hang out with the homeless all the time, and you can ask anybody that knew me in college. I used to hang out with homeless people all the time, and we go eat and hang out. But I saw a lot of healings on the streets too. After that, just by praying for people, weird shit like stuff that you wouldn't think about. And I know those things will probably come back into my life at some point because I've kind of gotten to reassess my own life and figure out why. Why was I the one that was called at 3:30 in the morning? Why did I see all that? Why did I go down certain paths when it comes to educating myself, stepping away from faith, and really trying to figure out what the fuck's going on in the world? So I see those things playing a hand at some point in my life. I just don't know to what capacity and what realm and why.
Right.
And it doesn't bother me. It doesn't scare me. I also know that if the world saw that happen, they'd fucking freak out, and I'd be somebody bridging that gap, especially in today's world with what's going on. I don't know. I don't know if the last 10 years have just been some weird preparation for whatever the fuck's coming, but I'm not too worried about it. But I also know if I saw it, I would handle it differently and better. I do know that much. If I saw somebody possessed, I do know I'd handle it differently and better, and it doesn't bother me one bit. So
you mentioned that you had seen other entities
Stinger
in your
coffee,
life.
dump that shit. Yes.
What do you mean by that?
I've seen things that people would probably call angels, and then I've seen things that are probably like demonic outside of that, like tangibly seen.
What was the situation that you were in to see these things?
One of them, the evil shit after that kind of followed. I almost felt like it followed me.
I was going to ask that question.
And so, but I only saw it in one instance, and it was creepy. It's almost like you know when you're swimming and you feel like something's in the water?
Mm-hmm.
It was that. I could feel it. And then it was very brief. And then the angelics, I guess the good things, whatever you want to fucking call them, those came more in like a vision, and I could tell what was around me, and they were good. And I believe that everyone has them. I think everyone's got them,
Right.
Which is great. But it goes hand in hand with the fact that I think that we were very much designed, very much created by whom and what we've been told. I'm not so sure, but I know that it's good. And then everything that I saw that one day lets me know there's fucking evil in the world.
Yeah.
And if 800,000 kids go missing a year in this country, there's probably some fucked up shit behind that.
Right.
So there is good, there is evil, and that's not subjective. I don't think that's subjective. I don't think there's gray in that. People know what's fucking bad, and people know what's good.
Yeah.
And I think anyone that wants to draw or walk that line, we can answer that real quick. Hurting kids is wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's very easily answered.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I feel like I'm rambling at this point, so I'll shut the fuck up unless you got any more questions.
No, man. So
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know I don't know how to pigeon-tail that or wrap it up.
I think that's what everybody wanted to hear, because I'd heard from several people that they wanted to hear that demon story. I guess kind of left them at a cliffhanger last week. But
and if anyone wants to know who those people are, like, I'll tell you, just not.
Right.
Yeah, you can go look these people up. You can probably text me like, hey, did this happen? Yep.
That's crazy, man. It really
So,
is.
yeah, it's different for sure. But the funny thing is, if you go to other countries, that stuff's more common than you think.
Right.
And that's one thing that I found interesting is why. Like, why in Haiti is witchcraft and all this stuff and possession normal. It's very normal. So, but I know I've talked to some Wiccans and some people out there. It's the spiritual world that we can operate in is very much available. It's just a matter of which route you want to go.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
Fast.
Yeah, you can get there quick.
Just fast.
So check this out. This is what we're going to do. Next week we will have, if everybody wants to come back on.
As long as we're not on lockdown.
Yeah, as long as we're not on lockdown, we'll do this again next week, and maybe even if we are on lockdown, we can get together on Google Hangouts or Zoom or Skype, whatever it might be, and kind of do this again, kind of stay in touch. We'll do a little brief rundown of kind of what's happened in the world in the past week, because every day something new happens out there with the crazy news. And I know you talked about the Mandela effect.
Yeah.
I love the Mandela effect.
Me too.
And I think the Mandela effect is very much real. And if you don't know what that is, you can check it out. But in 2012, something happened, and I believe that we went.
I thought it was 10. I thought it was 2010.
2012. 2012.
See, man, it's happening right now.
It's happening right now. Pretty sure it's 2012. Ethan, is that right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
10 or 12.
Whatever. But I think it's 2012, and check that out. Do a little research on it. We'll touch base on it next week, and maybe we'll unpack a little bit of what we're talking about as far as the New World Order and the conspiracy theories and the child sex rings and everything else that's going on that's crazy in this world. And maybe we'll have some more things open up within the next week that we can touch on as well, and maybe kind of bring some of what we're talking about to light. Hopefully so. Hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully we got good news. You know?
Hopefully it's good news. But if not, you can always come here first for your conservative news source.
Yeah, 100%.
If you don't like Christopher Green or Alex Jones, you can always like us. So that's fun. All right, well, we're going to wrap it up unless you got anything else.
Nope.
All right, we'll go to YouTube. Press that the thumbs up button, subscribe to us, share this channel. Go to Apple Podcasts. That's my favorite one. Go to there. Go leave a 5-star review, leave a written review, and tell everybody this is the best podcast in Chattanooga. Do me a favor. Do that. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next week unless the end of the world's here. All right, peace.